Good morning. Welcome to Edge Homestead. Today's task for the day is to clean up this mess of a yard. Now, I dropped 7 trees earlier through the winter. For some personal reasons, I couldn't get back to the homestead for since about the end of May, and this is what we end up with. So, just to give you an idea of how fast Mother Nature takes back its own, this was a cut grass. I haven't cut it yet this year because there's all sorts of logs in there, and you can look at the growth. So you're always fighting, keeping back Mother Nature in northwestern Ontario. It does come back very quickly. So today we're going to talk a bit about chainsaws, and as you can see here on my table, we have my setup for the day. Now I like using sawhorses and a piece of plywood as a table, but I'll go through some of the things you need for chainsawing. One of the things you're going to need: chainsaw pants or chops. They go on the front of the leg. They protect you. How they work is basically if you hit this, you will it shreds and plugs up your chainsaw. Please wear them. Nothing worse than cutting your leg open with a chainsaw. Chain doesn't know whether it's cutting flesh or it's cutting trees. Another thing is a good pair of gloves. Those are cut for chainsawing gloves. They work well. Hard hat with earmuffs, face shield, protect your hearing, protect anything from dropping on your head. Funnel you're going to need. You're going to need something called chain bar oil. Spring and summer. In the winter, you got to use a different type because of it's got to be thinner so it runs better. You're going to need a measuring cup because most all gas powered chainsaws use a gas oil mixture. Bug spray. Bugs are brutal in northwestern Ontario. You got your chainsawing tool, measuring cup for gas also. This is my blade sharpener. It's a little battery operated thing, and how it works is basically you set the angle, you go into the tooth. Where's a tooth here? You go set your angle, go into your tooth, and you sharpen your chain. Then you got premix. You're going to need premix for 2-cycle engine and gas. Now you're going to have to mix the gas with the premix. I like using a little 5-gallon jerry can. 5 liters. I put 5 liters into it, and then I can mix the according amount of oil. So I believe all my machines are 40-1 mix ratio. So I run both machines off the same mix ratio. Now, part of homesteading is if required, you need a chainsaw. Most people, you've saved up, you bought your homestead. One of the costs is a chainsaw. Chainsaws is people have a love for certain types. Husqvarna still is your top of, and Echo are your top of the line saws. They're going to cost you big dollars. Okay, everybody will tell you to buy a Rancher 455 Husqvarna if you're going to buy a saw. Well, a Rancher 455 is $700 plus tax. So you're looking at an $800 outlay by the time you buy everything. Now, if you just kind of scraped enough to get by your homestead, and all of a sudden you got an $800 bill just to buy a chainsaw, that might hurt a bit. If you can't afford that, and you'll see for mine, I don't run Husqvarna. I do have a Still. It's not with me today. Still, it makes some small saws that are price competitive. Basically a 16-inch bar Still. It's called an MS 170. Costs about $299. Now, watch your prices, because if you're looking at a mid to entry level saw like a Poulin or a Remington, they might be coming close to spend an extra $20 to get a Still. Now, this is a Poulin. I've had it for 20 years. Okay, so it's a little 33cc. It's supposed to have a 14-inch bar on it. I put a 12-inch on it because this is my delimbing saw. And this here is a Remington 46 with a 20-inch. Remington is an MTD product. MTD has been around for years. I don't think they sell Remington anymore. They'll have it brand labeled as a Troy-Bilt. And I believe the Troy-Bilt number is a 4620, which is what the Remington was. This was an Outlaw 4620. I can't complain about the saw other than it leaks chain bar oil when it's shut off. So the bottom of the case, you have to put some paper towel in the bottom because it will leak it all out. Other than that, it always starts for me, always works, and does the job. The little Poulan here is, like I say, it's 15 to 20 years old. Again, you take care of these things, they last forever. Everybody will say, yeah, buy a Stihl, buy an Echo, buy a Husqvarna. Like, that's your top of the line saws. And hey, if you can afford it, go ahead, buy one of the big lines. If you can't, these little guys will work. Poulan, and if you kind of look around at saws and do a little bit of digging, Poulan is owned by Husqvarna. Husqvarna owns Poulan, owns McCullough, and I think they own John Sered. So that's one of your big saw manufacturers. Stihl is your other oldest saw manufacturer. They're the biggest in the world. German company. They are just Stihl. They don't brand label anything else. They just own Stihl. Remington is an MTD product. MTD's been around for years, man. If they didn't build a product that worked, they wouldn't be in business today. So I had no trouble buying an MTD product. It suited me fine. Ryobi builds a saw. Now, back when I was a kid, Homelight was a big saw manufacturer. Well, Ryobi bought Homelight. So you can find gas-powered or battery-powered Ryobi saws. I'm not sure about those. I haven't used one personally. Pioneer is another manufacturer. Champion. Champion Power Products, they make a saw also. I run a lot of Champion products. I run their generators. I run their log splitter. I have no problems with their machines either. So again, it's all price sensitive, right? Buy what you can afford. If you can afford to go to a Husqvarna or a Stihl, go ahead. It's nice. Husqvarna, you can buy at Canadian Tire. One of the things I did find when I bought the Stihl, which really impressed me, Stihl only sells through distributors. When I bought the Stihl, the company starts the Stihl up, makes sure it runs properly, and shows you how to run it, shows you the idiosyncrasies with it and how to start it, which is really nice. That's one of the pluses of going with Stihl. They don't sell through box stores that I've seen yet. Husqvarna, you can go to Canadian Tire, you walk out the store with that Husqvarna saw, you're on your own. Doesn't quite run right, or you're returning it, or you're bringing it to a Husqvarna dealer for service. Same with the MTD products. As soon as you buy from a box store, you're on your own. So my recommendation, Echo also, sorry. Echo is sold through box stores. There's small distributors that may sort of have a service shop with their stuff. They will help you. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of buying from a local small guy who is there to help you run your saw. Again, hopefully this kind of gives you a bit of an introduction to chainsaws. Whatever you want to buy, it says you can pretty much go from a $200 saw up to a $3,000 plus saw. The only thing I will mention also is that the reason I run two saws is this is 46 cc's. It's heavy. You work with it all day, you're going to feel it. This little guy here is a 33. It's a little bit lighter, easier to throw around, especially when you're delivering, you're bending, you're moving the saw all over. So I like to run a little saw. Now, one of the things to look at with your saw when you're going to go start it up, of course, if you look at the sides of these, you're going to put gas, you're going to put your chain oil. Your chain here is a little bit loose, so you got to make sure you keep those tighter. And how that's done is you loosen these two nuts, and on this case it's right here. You turn this screw and that will tighten or loosen the blade. Check it every once in a while. Usually I check it every time I put gas in this thing. Sorry if I don't get it in picture all the time. Cameras are terrible. And make sure you sharpen your blade. Typically, it's up to you. You'll find out how long it takes your blade lasts before it needs resharpened. I tend to sharpen before I start for the day, and that helps me out. Typically, I can run 4 or 5 hours on it. And then by lunch, when I stop again, I'll chain grind it up again and make sure I'm good for the afternoon. Anyway, hopefully this is of some value to you. again, I'm just trying to pass on my knowledge of being a homesteader, and I hope it is of some value to you. Anyway, you have a good day here. And again, this is River's Edge Homestead in northwestern Ontario.